In September 2018, the new Malaysian ambassador Dato Reza arrived in Ukraine. Before, the diplomat spent more than 3 years as deputy permanent representative of Malaysia to the United Nations in New York, and then headed for the Western Asia division of the Malaysian Ministry of Health Services of Malaysia until his arrival in Ukraine.
Malaysia established its diplomatic relations with Ukraine in 1992. Since then, the relation between Malaysia and Ukraine have been very warm and friendly. The highlights of our bilateral relation is, of course, the visit of President Petro Poroshenko to Malaysia in August 2016. During President Poroshenko's visit to Malaysia, a number of memorandum of understandings and agreements were signed to further strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries.
May 9, 2018 in Malaysia, the work of a new cabinet of ministers began. For the first time in 61 years, the opposition party won. It is noteworthy that the current staff of ministers is one of the youngest, so one of the ministers is only 25 years old.
In November, there was the first visit by the new government to Ukraine. The Minister of Human Resources of Malaysia undertook a 4-day visit to Kiev. Ukraine is a country with tremendous and huge potential, but I believe your biggest asset is the human capital, the people. Just imagine, annually Ukraine produces 130,000 engineers and 16,000 IT experts. Definitely foreign investors are attracted to invest in Ukraine because of the human capital that are available in Ukraine. We are exploring many bilateral cooperation. For example, what we would like to see is that more high-level visits will take place, including hosting visits for ministers from Ukraine.
Support at the foreign policy level is very important for mutual understanding between the two countries, so Malaysia does not recognize the illegal annexation of Crimea by Russia. Also, this country is in favor of a peaceful solution concerning the conflict in the Donbas region and compliance with the Minsk agreements.
Malaysia is very concerned with the situation in Donbas. I think peace and stability in the eastern Ukraine is of interest to all of us. Of course, the sea skirmish in the Kerch Strait has brought a new dimension to the conflict, meaning to say that now the conflict is not only on the land, but it's also in the sea. Once again, I would like to emphasize that it is very important to de-escalate tensions and not to make things worse. In 2014, when the United Nations adopted the resolution on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine, Malaysia had supported and voted in favor of this resolution. The resolution was adopted with overwhelming majority. I believe more than 100 countries voted in favor, including Malaysia. And coincidentally, I was the one who delivered the statement at the General Assembly on behalf of Malaysia to support the resolution. And this is, I think, a very remarkable commitment by the international community that they show their solidarity with the Ukrainian people.
The Malaysian ambassador recalled that since 2014, more than 10,000 people have died as a result of the conflict in the east of Ukraine, including 298 victims of the crash of the flight MH17. Among them were 43 Malaysian citizens. The joint investigation team, which includes experts of the Netherlands, Australia, Belgium, Malaysia, and Ukraine, continues to find evidence in order to identify the perpetrators of this disaster and bring them to justice.
First and foremost, would like to thank the government of Ukraine for providing assistance and support when this sad tragedy took place in July 2014. In May this year, the JIT has released its report. It was established that the book that shot down MH17 was originated from Russia. The JIT welcomes any new evidence or any new witnesses that can offer assistance to the investigation. The perpetrators that shot down MH17 must be held accountable for this crime.
The priority areas of the governments of Ukraine and Malaysia have become education and science. In the first half of 2019, the two countries are preparing to sign a memorandum of cooperation in these two spheres. In addition, the two countries are actively developing joint work in the direction of training and professional development of specialists in this sphere.
Ukraine has been included as a recipient of the Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, MTCP. As a background, more than 140 countries have benefited from this MTCP program. Through this MTCP program, Malaysia invites citizens from all over the world to come to Malaysia and attend different courses. Participants who attend this course will be able to not only learn about Malaysia but also to share information about their country. For instance, there are courses in the field of education, in the field of scientific, in the field of arts and science, in the field of engineering, and so many more. And I hope beginning 2019, some selected Ukrainian would be able to attend these courses and bring back the knowledge that they gain from attending these courses and share with the people in Ukraine.
In 2017, the indicators of turnover of trade between the countries reached the number of $210 million. Ukraine mainly purchases palm oil and food products, rubber products, chemical products, as well as electronic equipment produced in Malaysia. In addition to that, one of the most prospective sectors in cooperation between the two countries in terms of profits is the manufacturing of automobiles.
We have been very active in promoting trade. For example, in June this year, the Malaysian External Trade Development Board, or in short MATRADE, sent a trade mission to Kiev. And similarly, Ukraine in early this year sent a group of about 20 companies to Malaysia to explore business and trade opportunities. There are some positive outcomes from all these trade missions. For example, fruits from Ukraine will enter into Malaysian market very soon. This is a good news for us, as we know Ukraine is one of the biggest agricultural producing country in Europe.
One of the important directions of strengthening the economy in Malaysia is tourism. Last year, about 30,000 Ukrainians visited Malaysia. Countries plan to increase the flow of tourists from Ukraine, so the negotiations regarding the introduction of a visa-free regime are an important aspect of bilateral relations. The ambassador gave a positive assessment of tourism potential of Ukraine.
I find, in general, the people in Ukraine, they are very friendly, open, tolerant, and also helpful. Ukraine has very rich cultural and traditional heritage. I have witnessed myself. The other thing that really impressed me is about the beautiful architecture. You can see very impressive buildings, museums, and one you cannot miss is their beautiful cathedrals. You can see many tourists flocking the tourist spots like the St. Sophia, St. Michael, St. Andrews, and of course the most iconic cathedral in Kiev, which is Pechaska Lavra. I've been around Kiev. I have even tried the subway metro, and I really find it fascinating because the first thing that I noticed is that you have subway station which are located very deep underground, and this you cannot find in cities like New York or London and elsewhere. So this is something very unique about Kiev. About food, one would be very surprised to find that in Kiev and also in Ukraine, there's a wide variety of foods available in so many restaurants. You just name it. There's Azerbaijani food, Turkish food, Middle Eastern food, Asian food, and of course you can find everywhere Italian or French food.
According to the diplomat, his work is not only about travel and attending major events. The daily routine of the ambassador is having meetings, holding talks, and most importantly, working with all the necessary data.
I became a diplomat by accident. Every day is a new thing for us. Every day is a new challenge. You face different people. You negotiate different thing every day. Basically, this in the life of diplomat happens every day. And nowadays, a diplomat needs to keep abreast with the current development. The developments are taking place at a very fast pace. You can only make the right decision when you have the right and the latest information. So this is one of the important skills that a diplomat needs to possess.
One of the ambassador's main goals is to visit different regions of Ukraine to get to know the country in all its diversity.
I've been here only for 4 months. I have yet to explore more, especially about other regions in Ukraine. So far, I have only visited one region, which is Poltava region, and I visited the town called Kremenchuk. Ukraine has been facing many challenges, threats, and also difficulties in the last few years, especially after the annexation of Crimea in 2014. But I believe, despite all the internal and external challenges, the government of Ukraine is very determined to implement reforms in the country for the betterment and the well-being of its people.